More on the radiation situation. Tilman Ruff is a public health official at the University of Melbourne. Good morning to you, Mr. Ruff. How serious is this threat to the people of Japan?
It's really quite serious, and it's a very unstable and complex and evolving situation. But as your report has highlighted, there have now been significant problems: explosions, fires, difficulties with cooling at all of the four reactors at this Fukushima Daiichi site, and two of the reactors that have actually been shut down routinely prior to the earthquake are experiencing problems in their spent fuel storage ponds with rising temperatures. And this is of concern because those spent fuel storage ponds, which house the nuclear fuel after it's removed from the reactor, it's very hot, it's got to be cooled down for a number of years. Those are pretty simple structures. They've clearly been damaged by the tsunami, and there's a lot of radioactivity in there, in fact more generally than is in the reactors themselves.
Gee, that's quite something to know. How far can radiation spread?
Look, it really depends on how much is released, how high it's blown into the atmosphere, and which way the wind's blowing and how quickly. It can certainly spread around the world. In the Chernobyl accident, where there was a large explosion that put a large amount of radioactivity high into the atmosphere, about two-thirds of that, in fact, fell not in the surrounding regions, but over Europe. Hundreds and thousands of kilometres away. So it can travel long distances.
What about if it gets absorbed into plants and crops and then humans eat those products?
That's part of the problem, that a number of the important isotopes, strontium, cesium, iodine, names that people might have heard, are biologically important or mimic things that are normally in the environment. So they're concentrated in living tissues, and they're concentrated in our foodstuffs, in milk, in plants and in animals. So parts of Europe, for example, are still contaminated foodstuffs not allowed to be harvested in areas that were quite some distance from Chernobyl.
All right, Tilman Ruff from the University of Melbourne, we thank you very much for your insight.